What is going on out there, peeps? All right, let's get back to what's going on over there in Iraq. We know the Pope has been visiting. I think it serves a couple of different purposes that we'll talk about here in just a second. I want to remind everybody, if you're thinking about buying precious metals, give a consideration to our friends over there at Money Metals Supplies or Exchange. Sorry, I don't know why I do that. Money Metals Exchange. If you're a first-time buyer in Puerto Rico or the United States and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and get a free half an ounce of silver. If you are a return client and you spend more than $500, use promo code SQUEEZE. That's for sure. You guys know I got Pimpy's Investment Chat over here on Facebook. We do talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, as well as foreign currency investments. You guys know I got the alternative YouTube channel over here. We cover a lot of these conspiracy things that are going out here, plus what's going on in daily events. All right, before I get into this, I'm noticing a trend that's starting to really irritate me a little bit out here in the YouTube sphere. There are different arenas in which people talk about different subject matters. You know, I talk about my different types of investments. So there's an investment sphere, but we don't seem to have the same problem as I see happening out there with so-called truthers. You know what I mean? Or anybody in this area in which, well, actually it happens in the Iraqi Dinar community. So let me reword this. I'm noticing that people are paying for information, I guess is the best way to put it. And they pay for information, and the people they go listen to claim to always have these insiders. Oh, I got these insiders. Come pay me so you can hear something new and something different. And they just string you along with some bullshit. Okay? So be very careful of that. That's happening both in the truther movement, where these people are fabricating stories, trying to sound like they got inside connections to different locations. We see that happening in the Iraqi Dinar community. There's a lot of people out there telling you, hey, we're going to give you some special information. After you've been paying for it for such a long time, do you really feel like you're getting something that's not been talked about? Or are they just keep stringing you along with, hey, my insider said definitely the numbers on the back office, or definitely the redemption centers are fire, you know, all that crap. Don't fall for it. All right, it's just BS. And there's a lot of infighting going on between people. There are those out there who are trying to share the truth for free. And when they call out those other people who are full of crap, then they tend to get attacked by a little army of people. So just be very careful. Be very wise with your money. That's why I give it out here for free. Anyways, let's get into this. Again, I've been watching it for a couple of days. There's a million other things going on, so I apologize if I don't put these out every day like I used to. That will change here shortly. I just with the main other things going on, there's some remodeling in the house. It tends to be very distracting. You know, I'm trying to save my room for last because when they come in here, it's going to take a few days. So I'm going to have to figure out how to get to my setup so that I can do videos. All right, so what's going on here? A deputy in a regional parliament commenting on yesterday's message. We will continue to negotiate with Baghdad until the last moment. All right, they're still going back and forth. As you notice, although some of the articles give the appearance that, you know, the budget can be voted on at any time, it doesn't seem to be moving. Well, why is that? Remember I was telling you, the Erbil and Baghdad have to come up with an agreement. It's part of the budget. So it's kind of hard to vote on the budget and move forward if you can't agree on something. Now, the thing that I was concerned about that's causing this long delays in agreements is exactly what they're talking about in here. I'll show you real quick. We're going to skip a little ahead here. Right here, it says the decision is not in the region's hands. We have made all our commitments and pledges, but the problem lies with the political blocs. You see, we have that happening here. You guys hear me talk about all the time, where you got politicians are more interested in their own personal gains than what's right for the people. And we cannot agree on the conditions of unconstitutional political forces. And it is not possible to deliver the entire oil because there is a financial and legal obligation and obligations before our people and our citizens. So again, you got the political blocs there, making it hard for these people to come up with any kind of agreement whatsoever. Because remember, these political blocs vote on these things. You see it here in the United States. So the Pope went out to into Iraq, met with all kinds of religious leaders. Again, I think he's just pushing the Great Reset agenda. But one thing is for sure, it did a really good thing. And there is an article about it in here. And what they brought up is this: with the Pope visiting over there, it just demonstrated to the world, the international community, that people from all kinds of different backgrounds can go around in Iraq without any real threats. Now, having said that, it is the Pope, and of course the Pope is very guarded. So anyways, he wanted to make a point to the world that, hey, Iraq is a lot better than where it used to be. So it did serve another good purpose as well. Here we go. Remember I was telling you guys about the Iranian rial. Keep an eye on it, because with the Biden administration, you're going to see some quick changes, in my opinion, when it comes to Iran. Sure enough, look at this. Iran announces the release of $3 billion of its frozen assets in 3 countries, including Iraq. So in this article, it just goes back and forth saying, hey, there was somebody from the Iranian media had reported that the Iraq, Oman, and South Korea had unfroze some money that belonged to people in Iran. And then there was a denial, but later on you find out that indeed they were waiting for the green light from Washington. And guess what? They got the green light. So what does $3 billion do? Nothing really, not a whole lot. It does some things, but not a whole lot. The point being about this article that I wanted to bring to your attention is this. You can start to see the guard is being dropped between us and Iran. This is why I was saying it's a good thing to have some Iranian rial. Once the sanctions are lifted, the economy is going to drastically improve. There's no sanctions there to hurt it in any way, shape, or form. That will increase the value of the Iranian rial. So when you see stuff like this is what I'm looking for to see. Is there any kind of hint out there whatsoever that they're starting to relax the restrictions that they have in Iran? There's a first sign. $3 billion of its frozen assets in 3 countries, including Iraq. U.S. given the green light, and the restrictions have been removed. Oil receptions, a meeting between the Pope and the President. So here's our official oil reception, geez, Lord. So look, it's just, you're going to see a lot of articles about the Pope. And so I'll kind of get past them just a little bit. Now this caught my attention big time. Very, very, very interesting. Henry Kissinger, who is considered one of the godfathers of the New World Order. He's an evil man. He is the one that usually makes recommendations on all these so-called, we'll call them regime changes around the world. In other words, go to war. Said something very, very interesting. Biden must uphold Trump administration's brilliant policy in the Middle East. I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. Trump tried to bring peace to the Middle East. Kissinger supporting this makes me kind of nervous. You know what I mean? Former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, who advised Biden's administration to continue to uphold the brilliant policies in the Middle Eastern politics achieved under the Trump administration. So whenever these people support anything, you got to get wary about it. Again, I'm a huge supporter of Trump, but I pray to God that I don't find out that this guy was secretly, somehow, some way, the boogeyman. You know, I don't want to get into it because people lose their mind. They're like, you're dark-sided, you become a shield. And yeah, that's not what it's about. The point being, and you should be aware of these things. And I am, whenever Kissinger agrees with you, that's kind of a scary thing. So Kissinger, who was a Secretary of State under Nixon and Ford administration, made these remarks during a seminar. So very interesting. Kissinger likened Trump's diplomatic achievements in the Middle East to Nixon's opening of China in 1972, which wasn't a good thing, to be honest with you. He also called on Trump's administration's Abraham Accords a breakthrough in Arab-Israel relations. Anyways, I thought this was interesting. He does go on to praise Trump and his administration and their achievements in the Middle East. Again, we're talking about Henry Kissinger. Anything that he agrees with would make me nervous. But I am very happy and proud of what it is that the Trump administration was able to achieve without a lot of support. He could achieve so much more. He will in his second term. You can read more about it. I'll leave you the link. So again, the Pope, good receptions. So Erbil did send over the data necessary for Iraq to analyze how much oil is really going on, how much is being pumped out of there in Erbil, and then how it is they could come to agreement. I believe the agreement was originally 250,000 barrels a day in exchange for 12.6% of the budget. That's why the budget can't move forward, okay? So nonetheless, there's not a, I like this right here. Look at it. The British ambassador. Iraq will witness a great openness to the world. Yes, that means what? Stronger economy, tourism, trades, business, stronger currency. So what did the Hickey say? Very happy with the visit of the Pope to Iraq, noting that the visit represents an important symbol of peaceful and pluralistic coexistence in Iraq. The whole world is now focusing on Iraq because the Pope is an important symbol of the world. We will witness the opening of Iraq to the world significantly. Good. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to hear. I told you there's a lot of articles in here regarding the Pope's visit. Crude oil up around $70 a barrel. That's what we want to see. Again, it continues to increase in value. Now, I want to point something out. It's a little tiny bit on the conspiracy side, but I do notice a trend that's kind of disturbing. This guy wrote an article, and what he said is the Prime Minister, Al-Kadhimi, admits to killing cancer patients with his own hands. And I thought, what the hell? Then you go in here and you go, okay, it's not quite what it is, but the article is still disturbing because that pattern that I'm about to talk about is happening all over. So for those of you who are all into that Agenda 2021, where they're trying to reduce the population, there's a lot of, there seems to be a lot of evidence starting to point in that direction. We saw what the 5 Democrats did to the elderly people by placing sick Rona people in with the positive Rona people. Killed a lot of people. Anyways, you had Democrats, when Trump tried to stop it in the beginning, telling people, come on downtown, come hang out, hug, do the whole 9 yards. Trump's just a racist. And of course, that helped spread it. That was the plan. Anyways, this article goes on to say Prime Minister Al-Kadhimi committed the crime of great national treason and causing the death of Iraqi citizens from cancer and to other dangerous diseases. So Al-Kadhimi announced the provisions of an amount of $4 billion to cash reserves. That is, there is extra money, and instead of spending it on buying medicines to save citizens' lives, the Prime Minister admitted publicly the deliberate killing of patients who cannot find medicine to treat them in government hospitals. And among the most prominent diseases is cancer, whose medicines are not available in hospitals, and the poor cannot buy expensive medicines from pharmacists. So what did he do? I was like, did this guy really kill him? No. What they're saying is instead of buying the medicines necessary to help their patients out, a lot of the really super sick people are dying because of lack of medicine. Now, again, this isn't the only place. There's a couple other countries in the European area that's doing the same thing. I believe in Australia, there's an issue as well where a lot of elderly people got killed. I might be wrong. It's either New Zealand or Australia. And then, of course, here in the United States, like I said, we had the whole thing with the Democrats. So I don't know if it's just one big, gigantic quidink, but they seem to be targeting the elderly as well as the sick. Here we were on lockdown. When we were on lockdown, what happened? While people who needed other types of treatment couldn't get them at hospitals. Cancer treatments, much needed life-saving surgeries. They told them they couldn't come in because the hospitals were overran with Rona patients, which wasn't the truth at all. So think about that because you see the bigger agenda happening there, and that is not good for the rest of the people. Anyways, that's it for now. Look, pay attention. I'll pay attention to what's going on in Iran and share with you, but there's a lot of changes happening quick that you could benefit from if you're holding on to the real. Also, with the Pope coming in to Iraq, I do believe it is going to open up a lot of international doors that we would be happy to see because think long-term, short-term, increments in the value of the Iraqi dinar. That's it for now. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. Bye.